Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. For today's card, I'm using the new Pocketful of Sunshine bundle. Here is the stamp set, and it comes with a set of dies, and you can see it's got some score lines so you could fold this pocket back and glue it to your card. And then I'm using the Spring Showers set by Lawn Fawn. There's a sun that comes in the Pocketful of Sunshine, but I really like the sun in this other die set, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to stamp my pocket onto Night of Navy cardstock with some Versamark ink, and I'm leaving enough room around the edge so that the fold over pieces get die cut as well. There's a straight across stitching and then there's a curve stitching. I'm going to use the curve stitching, and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment as well. I'm doing all my stamping first before I cut it out. Now there are these little sort of rhinestones. They're not really rhinestones, they're sort of like snaps, I guess. And I stamped 3 of those, and I'm going to cover them with some silver embossing powder. So you can see that it'll go right on top of the white, just a nice little detail. So now I'm going to place my die over it, center it, put some surgical tape to hold it in place, and then I'll run it through my Big Shot. Now I'm going to work on my sun. I'm using this Radiant Neon Pigment ink. It's by Sukaneko. I wanted a really bright yellow, so I'm going to do some direct to paper, and my ink pad's a little bit dry, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to cover this whole area, but I just want to get a big enough area to die cut my sun. Now before I die cut it, I'm going to sprinkle this with some iridescent ice by Stampin' Up. And they're not selling it anymore. I have no idea why, because it is such a great product, but it adds glitter instead of like actual glitter with glue. You're doing embossing powder, and it doesn't change the color, and that's the key, because a lot of times when you put glitter on top of color, it'll mute the color, and this doesn't do that at all. So I'm going to find some comparable products, because I know they're out there, and I will put them on the blog so you can buy them elsewhere if you need to. Okay, so then I'm going to die cut out my sun. It pops right out, and you can see how beautifully shiny this is with the glitter, but it's still a really bright yellow. I have 5 colors of scrap cardstock here. 2 of them are Simon Says stamped, and 3 of them are Stampin' Up. So I've cut 1/4 inch of each color. I'll have the names on my blog post. And now I'm just kind of arranging my card onto my card base so that I know where my rainbow is going to start. I'm going to mark both sides of it, because I'm going to ink all the way down to those marks. I'm using my Distress Oxide ink. This is Broken China, and the reason why I'm using this, I've been using these a lot more than my regular Distress ink pads, and that's simply because they're so much easier to use. They go on a lot easier. You don't have to worry too much about getting block lines from your applicator. It's just a more user-friendly product. So I'm going to sprinkle some water here, and I'm not using a brush. I'm just going to use my hand. I'm just spraying the water directly into my hand, and then I'm kind of flicking it onto the cardstock. And it's actually a really good way to get some good even sprinkles. And now I'm going to really not picking up any color with this. It really doesn't do it with regular cardstock, but I just wanted to dry it up so I could continue on with the card. But you can see how pretty the water spots are. Next, I'm going to apply all my colored cardstock strips and put it right back where I had those pencil lines. I'm going to use a 2-way glue pen, put all 5 of them down, and I'm going to put this off to the side to dry before I trim off the edges. Now I'm going to take my pocket, and you can see that it's scored on 4 sides, and I'm going to take a bone folder so that I can get a nice crisp fold on all sides. So you'll notice also that every time I do 2 of the pieces, I do the corner, like where the 2 pieces meet. So I'm going to fold this last one down and then crease that and then crease the corner. And it gets me a nice flat fold. And in the meantime, my pieces have dried, so I'm just going to take a scissor and cut off the excess. So I'm going to take my pocket and figure out where I want it to be and mark it. So I'm going to mark the bottom point down here. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to put some glue on it, and if I accidentally put it in the wrong spot, this Tombow glue dries sticky, and so it'll be sticky on the front of my card. So I don't want to make any mistakes. I'm just going to put a very thin line on all 4 of these areas. And then I'm going to put it right back on that pencil point that I drew. And just make sure that it's straight up and down. That's all I really have to do. So then I'll press it down, and then I'm going to grab an acrylic block so I can weight it down until it's really stuck to the paper. And I actually decided to add 1 more. So I'll put this one on, add 1 more, and then I'll just let it sit for maybe like 5 minutes or so. It probably doesn't even need that much time. When that's dry, I can put my sun inside the pocket, And I'm going to glue it to make sure it doesn't fall out. So just put some two-way glue. I'm just going to put it on half because the part that's inside doesn't really need any glue. I'm just going to put the part on the outside. So I'm going to make sure I go up all the different sun rays to make sure it's nice and secure. And then I'll just place it right inside the pocket. And I'm using two-way glue instead of Tombow because just in case a little bit gets off of the sun and exposed, it won't be sticky when it dries. I'm just going to press this down into place and I will be done. So that is the card for today. It's a pretty simple way to use this die set and stamp set, and I plan to use it in other ways with some interesting things coming out of this pocket. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.